I am so sorry, my math friends. I almost forgot. Today is Pi Day. Now, I love math, okay? And there's nerds and there's geeks, okay? I think that there's a distinction we need to clarify. So I'm a nerd more so than I'm a geek, okay? As far as my definitions go. So I don't memorize pi to 1,000 digits. I apologize. But today is Pi Day. So let's just say a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about math history, okay? Pi is actually mentioned in the book of Kings in the Bible. First Kings, I believe 7:23. It talks about this thing pi. Now it doesn't say the word pi, but let's talk about what pi is, and then you'll see where it kind of ties in. So pi is the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. So if you think about a circle, right, and you think about drawing a line from one end of this one part of the circle directly straight through the center of the circle to another point on the circle, that's the diameter. So pi is, if you take the circumference of any circle, you divide it by its diameter, that gives you pi. We've been able to calculate pi. Actually, I have the number here from a few years ago, to 206 billion decimal places. That is 206 with 9 zeros behind it. We've been able to calculate pi to that number. Now, here's the thing. We have some people that have memorized pi to, 10,000 digits. So therefore, they can recite it to you. It might take them a couple of hours, or a few hours. I personally think that pi to 3 decimal places is just fine. But if you want to make it a hobby, I'd recommend you maybe add a different hobby. But let's keep talking about pi for a second. So pi is a very important concept in mathematics, right? When you want to find the area of a circle, it's pi r squared. If you want to find the circumference of a circle, it's 2 pi r or pi d. Okay, who are some of the key people in this discussion of pi? I mentioned King Solomon, and in the Bible, there's a discussion about that ratio. Now, it's not the point of the story, but it's part of the discussion when the building was happening. It said, and it made a molten sea 10 cubits from one brim to the other. It was round all about, and its height was 5 cubits, and a line of 30 cubits did compass it round about. So there are descriptions that are given that point to this relationship that we talk about when we discuss pi. The other people that talked about pi are people like the Greeks, and one of them, very famous, is a man called Archimedes. Here's what's pretty cool. A few days ago, I did a video about Srinivasa Ramanujan. Ramanujan was an Indian mathematician. I apologize, he died at the age of 32, not in his 20s. He died at the age of 32, but he changed he did an amazing job, okay? And I'm going to write a little bio about him later. But there's a man named Archimedes, and in this book that I'm holding here, it's called Journey Through Genius, and it's just written by a math professor, math history, general math history. He talks about Archimedes. Archimedes was born about 287 to 212 is this time frame of living, okay? So 287 years before Jesus. 2 to 3 generations separated Euclid from the next greatest mathematician, who was called Archimedes. He called him the incomparable Archimedes of Syracuse. By the end of his brilliant career, Archimedes had pushed mathematics well beyond the frontiers of Euclid's day. Indeed, the mathematical world will not see his like again for almost 2,000 years. The reason why I bring up Archimedes is that Archimedes is one of the, if you talk about MVPs of mathematics, he's up there, right? This is the guy that we talk about that said, Eureka, Eureka, right? He was trying to find the volume of an object, right? And he discovered the displacement. When an object falls into a container and there's a displacement of a certain amount of liquid, he's the one who came up with that idea, right? Or that tried to bring us that information. So Archimedes did some work when it comes to pi. There's a whole book here on the history of mathematics, and chapter 4.6 is dedicated to our friend Archimedes. Why is math history important? Because it gives you the context for why people were doing the things they were doing, which could help inspire you maybe to care a little more about what they were doing, right? I teach math history as part of my math instruction because I want my students to hear about a concept and know some of the people behind that concept. So Archimedes was a boss, right? And they said it wasn't for another 2,000 years before we got someone of his caliber. Now, 2,000 years later, you get people like Newton, you get people like Euler. And so when you look at the top mathematicians of all time, you will see that you have your Newton, Euler, Gauss, Ramanujan, and so on. But then you have Archimedes also in there. Now, here's my thought. And you guys tell me what you think about this. I think that you should give people more credit for the fact that they didn't have information that we have, right? We have more information now. So if I discover something, should I have the same amount of credit that someone like Archimedes should have when he didn't have the printing press and the internet? I mean, you would think with the internet that we would see more young people having breakthroughs in math, right? But some of them rather kind of play games. So let's tell them the stories. Maybe it'll inspire them to do the math. And please, in the summertime, I want to encourage kids, please make time to keep learning, to keep refining your math. I have math tools available for kids to use for that on my website, learn.fulllifeacademy.org. It has, different math courses. Those who are from Lifestem Academy, those are all available to you at no cost there. But those of you who are just looking to expand your math knowledge and math history, you're welcome to reach out, Amos Tarfa 2@gmail.com, and I can share more information. So we will continue in our series of math history, mathematicians in history. We talked about Ramanujan, who was a self-taught mathematician that wrote a letter to Cambridge asking them to give him a chance. He got a chance, and G.H. Hardy helped him, and he became a great better mathematician. Today was Archimedes. Did a lot of great work, lived from 287 to 212 BC. He devised ways to measure the area of a number of curved figures, as well as the surface areas and volumes of a number of solids like spheres and cylinders. He worked out an approximate value of pi, which is a great feat to do back in 250 BC, before we had the computers we have today that have helped us calculate pi to 206 digits. So, happy Pi Day, and then have fun learning more about math history. Take care. Have a blessed day.